Okay, sir. So, Gopika Nair, you can begin.
Okay. Hello there. A very warm welcome to all of you, to all the extended family of Ahalia group of institutions. We know science and technology has that innate ability to puzzle our mind, build curiosity within us, to resolve the greatest mysteries of the world. Scientific and technical knowledge allows us to think differently, feel differently, and even to dream differently. So today we will have our second Tech Talk of our Tech Talk series on when will life on Earth end. To offer the welcome address, I invite Mr. Akshay Kannan SK, CEO of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development, IEDC, Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology.
Good evening all. Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology in association with IEEE, ISTE, IQAC and NDLA Club presents the second session on the ongoing Tech Talk series. And today's talk will be on the topic, when will life on Earth end? So first, I would like to invite Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai sir, Principal, Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology and Director Academics, Ahalia Group of Academic Institutions. Welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Krishnakumar Kishore sir, Vice Principal, Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology and Executive Director, Ahalia Group of Academic Institutions. Welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to invite all the HODs, staffs, and my fellow students, and all the external participants who are present today. Welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. Now I invite Dr. Muruganand G, Secretary of Indian Society of Technical Education, ISTE, Ahalia Chapter, for the presidential address.
Good evening all. Respected dignitaries, Principal Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai, Vice Principal Dr. Krishnakumar Kishore, my dear fellow colleagues and the participants from the outside. A warm good evening to one and all present over here. Today's topic on the Tech Talk Series 2 is when will life on Earth end? This is a topic which is being discussed for so many days, and it is a need of the hour. Why so? Because sustainability of Earth is going to be a very big question mark, and particularly a research article published last year March says that the Earth will not be able to support and sustain life forever. The oxygen content available in Earth is going to vanish within 1 billion of years from now. Why so? What is the reason? So the pros and cons, the reasons, everything will be addressed by our chief guest, but a glimpse of it I can give you, because this is mainly because of the age of the sun. Day by day, sun is getting older, and so it is becoming more luminous. The alter effect of it is Earth will be receiving more solar energy, and this increased solar energy will speed up the weathering of silicate rocks such as basalt and granite. So in turn, these rocks weather the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide and pull it out from the atmosphere. Basically, we know that when carbon dioxide emission is reduced, the Earth will be cooled. But there is some alter effect behind it. What is it? This carbon dioxide along with water is one of the key ingredients for planets to perform their photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is very, very important. Why? Because there only too much quantum of oxygen will be released in the process of photosynthesis. So when this carbon dioxide level goes down, this will affect the photosynthesis, and thereby the oxygen level also gets reduced. So we have to have a balance between all these things. So I think our chief guest, Dr. Mahadevan sir, will be addressing all the critics on this particular aspect. And now I hand over the session to Dr. Mahadevan sir. Thank you all for the for joining the session. Sir, the dais is yours. Thank you, sir.
Now, for the inaugural and keynote address, I welcome Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai, Principal of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology and Director, Academics, Ahalia Group, India.
Thank you, Professor Murugananth, Ms. Gobiga, and Mrs. Bindu. I think, am I audible to all of you? Am I clearly audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. So today's topic is on how long the life on Earth will survive. Truly speaking, we are not sure when the life on Earth started. Earth is estimated to be around 4.5 billion years old, or in Indian estimate, 450 crores of years old. And the universe is expected to be around 3.5 times older than that. That means around 13.5 to 14 billion years old, or around 1,350 to 1,400 crores of years old. So how old is the sun is still a rough estimate. Sun is expected to be older than the Earth and younger than the universe. So somewhere in between lies the age of the sun. So it is estimated that the sun may be around 10 billion, not million, 1,000 million, that is billion, 10 billion years old. So people do approximately estimate that the sun is at its mid ages, half the age over, so that it may remain for another 10 more billion of years. It's all expectation. Everything which I'm telling are based on scientific observations or estimates based on scientific observations. None of us know what is exact. Like asking you a question, how long you will live? Nobody can answer that. How long you will live is your estimate. How long the Earth will live is also its estimate. So there are so many parameters intertwined along with that, and obviously so many predictions are there, so many estimates are there. Estimates are based on scientific background, but predictions are mostly based on guesswork. Take for example last year, 2021, many people were propagating a belief saying that the universe will explode and vanish. The reason they say was that the Mayan calendar, Mayans, you know, it is an extinct group of civilizations. The Mayan calendar was ending last year, 2021. So when the Mayan calendar is ending, people believed that the Mayans were very wise. They were having a huge foresight, and Mayan calendar ends means it is the apocalypse, the last day of the universe, or at least the Earth. Such a belief system was there even among studied people, learned people. I have heard many learned people talk about these things, but nothing happened. Similarly, when I was young in my profession as a teacher, there was always a discussion that the world was going to end in 1984. Because 1984 was a novel written by George Orwell. George Orwell is his pen name. His actual name is Blair. His novel says that in 1984, the world will end. The earth will vanish. Similarly, there was a film, Apocalypse, which you would have seen. And in Christian belief system, there is a saying. In Christian belief system, they say that one day the Christ will come back and he will kill everyone, and the life of human beings. It's not saying that the life on earth will vanish. The life of human beings will end on that day. They call that Christ as the last Christ. In Malayalam, we call as the Antichristu. And that day is supposed to be the apocalypse day, the last day of life on earth for human beings. These are all different belief systems, but I am not concerned about any of these belief systems. I'm not being taken away by any of these predictions. So many predictions in the history of human beings. more than 200 predictions people believed, saying that the life on Earth will end, including 2021 a prediction by some of the people. But these are all based on belief systems. But today we are going to discuss based on reality, based on available evidences, based on scientific facts, what can happen, what happened, and what will happen. This will be our mode of discussion. So as I've told, if anybody has got any doubt on what I'm saying, we will have a discussion session at the end. Maybe some 5 or 10 minutes we can have a discussion, because this is a quite debated matter all over the world, when life is going to end. And most of the things which I'm saying may be based on history or paleontology or anthropology. Some of them may not be proven, may not be proven records, but we infer based on what has happened in the past. For example, the old belief system that around 65-66 million years back, the Jurassic age came to an end. Jurassic Park, you would have seen the film. Jurassic age is before 65 million of years ago. And at the beginning of 66 or 65 million of years, there was a big bang on Earth by an asteroid. Where from this asteroid came, still an enigma, but asteroids mostly come either from between Mars and Jupiter. There is an asteroid belt where hundreds of asteroids are there, or even beyond Neptune, there is another asteroid belt. But the more possibility for an asteroid coming and hitting the Earth is between from Mars and Jupiter, where huge asteroids are there. Asteroids are nothing but celestial bodies which are heavy in mass. And there is a big crater, there is a big hole in a place in Mexico, where the diameter of the hole is 150 kilometers and the depth is around 23 kilometers, which is expected or supposed to be the place where the crater was formed by the hit of the asteroid. And how an asteroid can kill the entire species on the Earth, that we will discuss, how these things can happen. So this is, of course, this is also based on some observations made. If somebody is asking what is the real proof for that, it will be difficult, because just like saying, we cannot produce proof for many things. And of course, those who believe in God will be always knowing that you can never produce any proof for God. Or even why we should go up to God. Even the wind which we feel, we are estimating that there is a wind based on its properties, not by seeing it. So always seeing is not believing, feeling is believing, sensing is believing. So many such belief systems have to be there. One by one we will see how these things have happened and what is going to happen. There are so many threats by even scientists that the world is going to end tomorrow, the world is going to end 12 years later, the world is going to end 100 years later. Let us see one by one, all of them. I'm going to present a PPT so that in a systematic order I can touch upon these things, and at the end we will have an open discussion to clarify your doubts. Let me present my PPT. Can you see my PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think this poster you have already shown. So no point in showing that. I'll go to the next one. Hope you would have heard about Elon Musk. He's very famous in the scientific arena because two of the most prominent business organizations or industries, SpaceX and Tesla. SpaceX is the world leader in space travel. Next to NASA, SpaceX is now in Kerala. Some people have booked a trip to moon through SpaceX. And Tesla is the leader in electric vehicles in the world. So Elon Musk is not a small phenomena. He's a big phenomena. He's a well-known name. Last week, I happened to read some articles by Elon Musk. I'm quoting here what he says. I don't go by accepting whatever he says, I'll tell which we can accept and which we cannot accept based on my cognition level. Maybe Elon Musk could have thought in a different level. Elon Musk says the expansion of the sun threatens the extinction of the species on Earth. He says that the sun is expanding. He says that the sun is expanding, and that expansion can cause the extinction of species on Earth. Sun is expanding is a truth, but the expansion of sun is very, very slow. So like what Elon Musk says, it is not going to bulge out over a day. The expansion of sun is going to be a slow process which takes millions of years and billions of years. I told that the present estimate is sun may last for another 10 billion. 10 billion means 10,000 million years more. So it's a very slow process. So I don't agree with Elon Musk in that point. Then the next statement is the only way to save these are from Elon Musk, not my statement. The only way to save humanity is to make it a polyglot. Polyglot means a species that can live on many planets. Right now, human beings are available on Earth only. He wants to make that species a polyglot, which can live in different planets. And the planet which he sees is Mars. Mars means next to Earth. Earth, then Mars. Mars, the advantage is Mars is only planet where possibility of a conducive environment is seen. Mars may be one planet where either life would have been there earlier or life can be there later. Possibility is there because its temperature, its atmospheric content are all conducive for some life form to sustain. So that what he says is correct. But what he says is by 2050, he wants to have human settlement on the Mars so that even if the Earth, humanity is vanishing, at least on Mars, it will survive. But how much he can take to Mars is a question still. Today it's 2022, so 28 years more. And going by the advances we made from 1969 to 2022, how many years now? More than 53 years now. Though we claim to have conquered the moon, we couldn't even put some people on the moon. So whether we landed on moon is another controversial issue which I don't want to touch upon right now. I'm a person who believes that nobody who landed on moon, if at all someone landed, has come back, because even by the present technology, it is difficult to come back from the moon. We can land on the moon. So we are yet to develop technology to come back from the moon. So how Elon Musk is going to have people land on the Mars and people live on the Mars, I don't say that it is impossible, it is possible. And Musk is more imaginative than realistic. He may be able to do it, but I don't know. Because even the life of a person we cannot predict here. So how can we say what is going to happen in 2050? Let it be there. And what Musk says next is also right. The Earth has seen 5 large extinctions. 5 times the Earth has seen almost a near total extinction of species, flora and fauna, animals and plants being killed 5 times. I'll discuss that. There are paleontological proofs for that. The Earth's surface and Earth inner surface and the deep excavations do show that 5 times there have been discontinuity of life on Earth. Discontinuity of life on Earth indicates that there was a break in the life forms. Some life forms vanished, and for the new life forms to come up, this discontinuity may be around 5 million years to around 30 million years sometimes. In this discontinuity period, there would have been no life form on Earth or minimal life form on Earth. These are based on the paleontological excavations which we conduct on the Earth. That is how we say that there was discontinuity. For example, at that time, we have fossil fuels excavation. We extract fossil fuels by excavating the Earth's surface, and then we see what are the layers of deposits on the surface of the Earth. So when there's a discontinuity of layers, organic layers, we can conclude that at that layer, in that debris content, the organic matter or the plant and animal remains are absent, means at that period of time or in that duration of time, there may not have been active life form in that area. That is how we conclude this, by seeing the break in the continuity. And what Elon Musk says at large is that there is 100% chance for extinction of all species on Earth, which I don't believe, which can happen only if a nuclear blast is there. That also can happen. But Elon Musk is not attributing that to nuclear explosion. Elon Musk is attributing that to climatological changes. Maybe the Earth is going to heat up, but it's a very slow heating up of the Earth. I'll discuss that. If the Earth is being heated up like that, there is no assurance that all the life forms will vanish, because by that time, resistant life forms will come up. Even a life form which can withstand 50 or 60 or 70 degree continuously can even evolve. Nobody says that it cannot evolve. What is the rule that only 40 or 37 degree human beings can survive? The body temperature of the human being at present is approximately 37 degrees centigrade. But there is no rule that the human beings can withstand only that. If the time changes and the earth changes and the atmosphere changes, we can even think of a new species of human beings or similar species which can withstand even 50 or 60 or 70 degrees centigrade. So the prediction by Elon Musk that 100% chance of extinction of all species on Earth, not only Homo sapiens. He says that all species on Earth may vanish. So that chance is also very remote. So I told my accepting part and non-accepting part as far as the prediction by Elon Musk. This is my personal observation. When you listen to my talk for another 40 minutes more, you will also be able to make up your mind on certain decisions, how things can change and what is going to be the fate. And this is another prediction list by Stephen Hawking. I think you would have heard about Stephen Hawking. He was one of the greatest scientists in the world, next to Albert Einstein. I think next to Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking is the person. He was a Cambridge professor, and he had a rare disease, motor neuron disease, which invalidated him physically at the age of 21 when he was a university student. And after that, he was working on, with the help of machines, which his friends and well-wishers have provided. But he survived the age of 70, and he died in 2018, 4 years back. Just before his death, he made these predictions. Let us see whether these are possible or not. Stephen Hawking is not an ordinary person. He was one of the most intelligent brains the world has seen. But I don't accept all his predictions because, when somebody is predicting, so many parameters may come up with, and he himself was not sure whether these predictions will be real or not. Yes, exclaimed it once or twice that I am predicting based on my conviction. Anyway, let us see. First prediction is humans would turn the planet into a giant ball of fire by 2600 AD. That means the earth will become a ball of fire or a fireplace by 2600 AD. That is possible. If we continue with the atmospheric pollution which is happening right now, or if we use the nuclear bombs again for a war, if a third world war happens, and if any country is coming up with nuclear weapons, this can happen. So I don't negate that opinion. It's a possibility. And this possibility, even now it is possible because I think all over the world, nuclear weapons are sufficient to burn the earth 500 times. India is also a nuclear power. US is the biggest nuclear power. Russia is a nuclear power. Every country. So if 6 heads of nations decide, the world can be burned 500 times. It can become, no species will remain. If it is burning, maybe temperature is increasing by natural means or by by heating up of the atmosphere, by global warming, it will be a very slow process. The prediction is that only 3 to 4 degrees centigrade will change within 100 years. But if nuclear explosion is taking place, for example, the bomb which exploded in Nagasaki and Hiroshima had only around 15 kilotons capacity. But now the bombs which are nuclear bombs which are there in the storerooms of the world powers are millions of capacity, millions of explosive capacity instead of kilo nature. Instead of kilo range, it is mega range. Okay, so 500 times burning this planet. The kiloton is a small unit which we used to express the power of explosion. Now it will be in megatons or gigatons or teratons, the explosion capacity available on the earth. So let us not think of it. My only fear is that if some 5 or 6 mad people, at a time, some mad people may come to the power in the top countries in the world. I'm not naming any world leader as such. Like in the US, a mad president is coming to the power. He can burn this earth within seconds. Luckily, everywhere the nuclear power is in a multiple operating system, not in a single hand. That is the only solace now. For example, the military, the Air Force, and the secret agency and the ruler of the country have to collectively decide. So if a single person alone decides, for example, the American president alone decides to operate the black belt, not possible. Before he opens the black belt, so many clearances have to come from the lower level. But if all the people in that group gets mad, the earth can be burned in seconds. That is a possibility. So I don't say that Stephen Hawking is wrong, but it's a rare possibility. Then another statement which Hawking says is, humans will need to go to live on another planet within 100 years or face extinction. He says that the human beings have to migrate to another planet, either to Mars. What is the only planet? Only Mars. No other planet is sufficient to take the human beings right now. Then Moon also is a possibility. It's not a planet. It's a satellite. Moon also may be possible. Only thing is, we have to develop our scientific advancements so that we develop a technology for smooth launching of satellites from Earth and from Moon and Mars. Right now, we have got that facility on Earth, but launching facility is not available on Moon or Mars. The moment we develop that, daily travel from Moon to Earth and from Moon or Mars to Earth will be possible. Only the time lag, of course, will become a concern. So maybe in the years to come, I don't know exactly how many years. Even now, it's a very slow pace, but maybe in some decades, we will be able to have daily travel from Earth to Moon or Earth to Mars like that. And humans may have to change over to the other planets to safeguard themselves, is his prediction, within 100 years. Again, it's a disputed matter. You will know why I'm disputing this matter when I finish my session. As far as Stephen Hawking is concerned, his prediction I am not negating. It's a truth. If we go on with our activities, it may happen. But 2 years back, another theory has come up, the cooling theory, which says that the carbon dioxide level increases, heating up the environment, and again, the temperature rises, there may happen a reverse mechanism, which is called cooling effect, and the earth will become darker and darker by that, and will be highly cooled. And even that also may be a threat to the humanity, because if that condition happens, the plants will not be, because there will be a dark cloud entirely covering the earth's surface, and sunlight will not be permitted inside, and the chlorophyll in the plants will not be able to produce food, carbohydrate on this earth. And if the chlorophyll is unable to produce carbohydrate on this earth, no life form can exist on earth. All the life forms on earth are dependent on the chlorophyll. So that is one concern, and that is also a realistic concern. But as far as Stephen Hawking was concerned, he was concerned about the global warming. This global cooling is a newly postulated theory. I'll come to that. Most of the people earlier were concerned about global warming only. The temperature is going up and up, what will happen? Now, another thing is, there can be an asteroid. Again, Stephen Hawking says, there can be an asteroid strike. That is quite possible. Nobody can negate. Whether the asteroid will come or not, nobody can predict. I told that in between Mars and Jupiter, there is a belt, which is called the asteroid belt. Hundreds of asteroids are there, ranging from small size up to 150 kilometer diameter. And even, say for example, even if a small asteroid of size 50 kilometers is falling on Earth, the diameter of impact may not be 50 kilometers, it may be 300, 400 kilometers, because it will impart so much of energy that is possible. So asteroid strike, the last one which we count now as a heavy asteroid strike is around 65 million years ago. But even after that, many times asteroid has struck the world. But if it is a small one, some meters size only, before it enters the Earth, it will burn out. That is happening. Asteroids are coming, and of course, so many other small cosmic bodies are coming onto Earth. But the Earth has got a protective environment around it, which is an air belt, which we call as the atmosphere. Anything comes onto the atmosphere, friction will develop, and the atmosphere will burn it. So small things cannot fall on Earth. But if something like maybe a 10 or 20 kilometer diameter object is coming, the burning may be only partial, the remaining will fall on Earth. And if the remaining will fall on Earth, I'll tell you later what all things can happen. So another thing which he predicts is epidemics, quite naturally. You would have seen COVID. In the book Inferno by Dan Brown, there's a story of a villain releasing a virus into the world. The virus which will kill almost 2/3 of the population. And the villain himself is saying that only 1/3 will retain on the earth, and they will be the most productive and most powerful species. So of the Homo sapiens, the weaker portion will be killed by that virus. Maybe that is what is happening in COVID also. Those who are susceptible to that COVID virus, they have been killed. And we don't know whether any such epidemics will come. One more thing is, nowadays, as he says, the planet is becoming more precarious. There is every possibility that in the future wars, bioweapons may be used. Bioweapons may be viruses, and even selective viruses. For example, we have got 3 species on Earth, on human beings: the asteroid, the mongoloid, and the negrito. And suppose one among the species decides that all the other species are not required on this Earth, what will happen? They will make a biological weapon, which will be a virus mostly, because virus is the one which is more resistant to all vaccines and such things. So they will develop a virus, which virus can kill the other species of Homo sapiens. Maybe, for example, if an asteroid species decides that mongoloid and negritoid are not necessary on this Earth, they can be even extincted with the help of a peculiarly selected virus with a controlled DNA. It is possible. Even today, it is possible. Many of the virology institutes in the world have got studies on how to eliminate certain species. And when this COVID came, there was a hue and cry that it is a man-made virus for selective elimination. I don't know whether it was true or false, but it is possible even now. That is one. So what is the prediction? Stephen Hawking is quite possible. A biological war comes, or a nuclear holocaust comes, or an asteroid strike comes, it can happen. But this possibility was there always, not only now, except the nuclear holocaust and the biological war. The possibility of an asteroid and the possibility of an epidemic was always there. It's not new one. So we cannot negate what Stephen Hawking says, but I feel one more thing, he has done this very close to his death, and when people near their death, they do have a lot of hallucination also. So a hallucination part also would have played into this. That is why the things which would have happened even earlier, that is an asteroid strike, there is no possibility of asteroid right now. But if at all an asteroid is coming, we will know only a day before or so. We cannot know, because the flight time of an asteroid from the asteroid belt near Mars is less than a day, maximum 1 day. So it can come very easily. So don't think that we will get months of notice that Earth is going to be hit by an asteroid or something. But even then, the space scientists can find some glimpses, some clues on whether some asteroid is delineating it from its path. That is possible. especially when the attraction, when the gravity of Mars is lost on an asteroid, the easiest way for it is then to fall onto Earth, because Earth is the nearest one. Okay. So now I'll go a bit about what happened in the past extinctions. There were 5 extinctions in the past. 5 times the life on Earth has been partially extinct, not 100%, even more than 80% was extinct most of the time. But in all extinctions, it is one thing sure, the most developed species will be extinct first. For example, when the last extinction was there 65 million years back, the most developed species on Earth at that time was supposed to be the dinosaurs. All of them were extinct. How it happens, I'll tell you. And that is why only their fossils are there now on Earth. Jurassic Park film you would have seen, it's only imagination. None of the eggs of that age are available. No egg will remain for 65 millions of years. So Jurassic Park is only an imaginary creation. Dinosaurs cannot now come back. In Russia, the Kremlin Museum, there is a long vertebra of a dinosaur kept, which is around 100 million years old one. So only skeletons will be available now. Now, what is extinction? Extinction is the disappearance of a species. It is the disappearance of a species altogether. So sometimes it may be a mass extinction, sometimes it may be an isolated extinction. For example, if human beings on 4 continents are disappearing and 1 continent is surviving, we cannot say it is extinction. It is partial extinction only. So like that, a total extinction is the entire loss of that species. Right now on Earth, we estimate that around 30 million species are there. Entire plants and animals combined. It's only an estimate. Somebody asked me for proof, I'll say what Birbal said. I think you know that story. One day, Emperor Akbar asked Birbal, how many cows are there in my kingdom? So Birbal told a number. I don't exactly remember the number. Then Akbar said, no, it is 1 less than that. And Birbal told, maybe true, Your Highness, because 1 crow would have gone as a guest to the next kingdom. So 1 may be less. That is the way we can deal with these things. These are only best estimates. Okay. So some species may die. Everyday species are dying. I'll give you the number later. Every day, every 15 minutes, 1 species is dying. Just imagine. So everyday species are dying, and new species will be born. New species will be born. We are unknowing because we are not seeing it, because majority of the species are invisible to the human eye. So when new species is coming, if it is visible to the human eye, we may identify. So a mass extinction, as I told, may be due to many reasons. Asteroid is one reason. I told asteroid is huge pieces of materials which are revolving around a planet in the solar system. Most of the asteroids are in the Mars, Jupiter, mostly either revolving Mars or revolving Jupiter. Then there are some asteroids revolving around Neptune also. And Pluto was expected earlier as a satellite, as a planet. Pluto was supposed to be a planet earlier. But now the scientists do say that Pluto is not a planet. Pluto is also an asteroid by its behavior, because its movement, its elliptical path, they have identified, and they predict that it's so. Now only 9 planets are there. Only 8 planets are there, 1 lost. Earlier we used to say Navagraha, means 9 planets. Now it's only Ashtagraha, only 8 planets. Pluto is no more a planet as per the International Society for Astrophysics. So only 8 planets are there. And then comets. What are comets? Comets are mostly coming from outer space. And in the solar system, comets cannot come from other stars. Comets mostly come from sun. Maybe some, or maybe from the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, we expect that there was a big bang millions of years back when the sun was formed. In the big bang, so many plasma accumulations were left in the atmosphere, in the space, and these accumulations solidified, or even pieces of solid materials were there. They somehow travel in the atmosphere, and if at all they come close to Earth, Earth will attract it. They fall onto the Earth. They are called comets. So comets are basically external bodies, not something which is inbuilt in the solar system, whereas asteroids are already revolving in the solar system. And these comets are normally small. Every day you can see comets falling. Even the remains of some space vehicle you see as a comet falling, because by the time the comet reaches the Earth, most of the comets will burn out. But very rarely comets can remain as solid even after falling on the Earth. That will be identified by their chemical content. Rare metals like iridium will be very high in the comets. So we can identify whether it's a stellar object or an earthly object. So then another reason which I told is global warming, which I'll discuss. Nuclear explosions. Then Ice Age coming is a famous book. Ice Age coming also I'll discuss how Ice Age can come hereafter. Because now we are talking about global warming, then how an Ice Age can come. Then of course epidemics, biological weapons, all these things are the causes for our mass extinction. Then how many mass extinctions have been there? I told there were 5 mass extinctions so far. The most recent one is the last one, Cretaceous Tertiary. It is called the KT. I'll tell why it is called KT. Then the previous to that is N Triassic. Previous to that Permian Triassic. Then late Devonian, and then Ordovician or Silurian. In between Ordovician, Silurian age. All these terms are paleontological terms. Paleontology means it is that branch of science which deals with the age of the rocks. Paleontology mostly deals with study about the origin of rocks. So these are all terms connected with the age of the rock. So based on the, of course, any of these studies, any of these impacts on the Earth or extinction on the Earth, we always study with respect to paleontological terms, how old it has happened. And of course, this is the geological time scale, very difficult to read. So I've made it into a table. This is easy to read. Those who are having the mobile can expand it, and on, I think, screen of the laptop, you can see it very easily. This is given in the reverse chronological order. The recent one at first and the most older ones at the end. I told that the age of the Earth is around 4.5 billion years. That means 4,500 million. 4,500 million years, age of the Earth. And in the initial half of the age of the Earth was not having any life form. Earth was not having any life form. It's only a guesswork, because Earth was in a molten stage. It was in a boiling stage. And then started rain. Earth was covered by a cloud of water vapor because of the molten liquid. And this molten stage, nobody knows exactly. Some people say that it would have been only some 100 million years. Some people say that it would have cooled even in 10 million years. I mean, no way to confirm it. So I say approximately it would have been half the age of Earth so far. So maybe around out of the 4,500 million, even 2,000 million would have been the cooling time till life can form on Earth. Life also formed accidentally on Earth. At the time of lightning, some amino acids formed. These amino acids which formed in the atmosphere came along with the rainwater. It went to the sea. In the sea, these amino acids formed what is called protein. Protein, the base element is amino acid. Protein formed what is called protoplasm. Protoplasm is the base element of an organic cell, whether it is plant cell or animal cell. Protoplasm is the basic. So a cell was formed. It was a singular cell being. From that, maybe it was an amoeba, like what our poet Weiler has said. Life has formed as an amoeba. Quite possible, either as an amoeba or virus, whatever it is. Single cell organisms. Both are single cell organisms. And from that, multicellular organisms formed. This is our belief system. So around 65 million of years back, we had a big mass extinction. Around 76 to 81% of the entire species on Earth were lost in that extinction, where the dinosaurs also were extinct, around 65 million of years. And then around 208 million of years back, those many millions of years back, around 80 to 84% of the species got extinct. That is called end Triassic Extinction. Around 245 millions of years back, around 95 to 97% of the species were extinct. The species means animal as well as plants. That was the biggest extinction. 95 to 97% extinct, around 245 millions of years. And then in the late Devonian extinction, around 365 millions of years back, around 83 to 87% of the species were extinct. And the first ever extinction was 440 millions of years back, where around 85 to 88% of the species were lost. This is the loss. This I will be showing you later in a graphical form. This is based on paleontological studies, because those many species, the remains, the fossil remains of those many species were missing on the paleontological studies for millions of years thereafter. So it is comfortably assumed that those species got extinct. For days I have been trying whether this has got any interpretation possibility, either by Fourier series or by Taylor series. Some mathematics teachers are here. I've been trying to analyze this 440, 365, 245, 208, 65. I don't see any serial connectivity between them. So I am of the opinion that the next extinction can never be predicted by natural means. This is all about natural extinctions. So next natural extinction cannot be predicted by an asteroid or some other global warming or something like that. It cannot be predicted right now. But one thing can be predicted: a nuclear holocaust or a biological war can predict. Within days, the life can vanish. That is a possibility right now. Again, mathematics teachers, I request you can conduct a study on this by any of the series which we use in mathematics, whether a correlation can be made for these years and can we predict. But many of the fraud people all over the world were predicting based on these things, that it may come this year, it may come that year, like that. These are all guesswork. There is no scientific basis on that. And I don't also see any scientific basis on this. But I'm not ruling out that any day an asteroid strike can be there. And the asteroid strike possibility is the same every day. Whether it is 65 million years back or 280 million years back, the possibility even today is the same. That is one thing which we cannot negate. And I also feel that human beings will not be foolish enough to kill the entire species on Earth. And of course, in the Stephen Hawking prediction, one more thing is there that I didn't write particularly. That is what is called the concept of singularity. Concept of singularity, he has written an article some years back. Stephen Hawking has written an article on the concept of singularity. The concept of singularity is based on the world famous novel Frankenstein. Frankenstein is a novel which says that a scientist made an artificial being called Frankenstein in the human form. And ultimately, Frankenstein was very powerful, very resistant to everything. And he gave the wisdom also to Frankenstein. And ultimately, Frankenstein killed its maker, like what has happened to Chitty in the Endurance film. So Stephen Hawking says that is also a possibility. The man in his mischief for making more and more creative robots may once produce a robot which is self-deciding, self-charging, self-innovating. And if that happens a day, that robot will make its own replica, like in Endurance film, and that will kill all the human beings on Earth. So that point of extinction, Stephen Hawking is naming as singularity. We cannot rule it out. It's a possibility, But I don't know whether, because seeing the growth of artificial intelligence, today I feel that that stage will come very much later. Maybe in Enter and film it has come before time, but in reality, none of the robots which I've made now has got any possibility of nearly reaching it. Because most of the robots, you know, it is serial processing machines, whereas the human brain is the most effective parallel processing machine on the world. So the possibility of extinction by robots is ruled out as of now. But I don't contradict Stephen Hawking. I feel it is still a possibility because he doesn't. He was one of the world's most sophisticated brain owner. So there would have been. So any of these extinctions can happen, and of course, I have a lot of studies about all these extinctions one by one. I'm not going to all these things because, you know, any extinction, if at all it happens, why I made all these PPTs is somebody is asking me about any. Then one more possibility is there, which is cosmic possibility, which I didn't discuss so far. Cosmic possibility is that a breaking away star or a vanishing star will go to different stages called nova, supernova, white dwarf, and black hole. This was a study conducted by Dr. Chandrasekhar, nephew of Dr. C.V. Raman. Chandrasekhar got the Nobel Prize for his studies on black hole. So any star at a dying stage will go through this. And when the star is dying, millions of years, a star may die maybe 1 lakh million or so many billions of years. We cannot predict exactly when a star is going to die. But when a star is going to die, it may come to a stage called nova and then supernova. Supernova is a highly attracting body, then a white dwarf, and then a black hole. Black hole is such a material which attracts anything which comes on its way. These are all possibilities. If something like that happens to move nearby, it may even plug the earth and attach to it. Not only the earth, it may even plug our star, that is sun, and attach to it. That is possible because sun is a very small star. But these are all very remote possibilities. And one more thing is, any such thing coming near to us is a distant possibility because even the nearest star other than sun is 4.5 light years away from the sun. There's no influence on us. 4.5 light years means we travel at the speed of light. It takes 4.5 years. Speed of light travel is impossible right now. It takes 4.5 light years or 4.5 years to reach that star, which is called Proxima Centauri. Okay, and even our solar system is a part of Milky Way. Milky Way is a galaxy having around 300, 400 billions of stars with a diameter of more than 1 lakh light years. So it's a huge thing. You cannot imagine it. Such a big thing. So any other star trying to absorb this solar system, possibility we cannot negate. In the universe it is happening. And there is also a question whether it is a single universe or a multiverse. Whether so many such universes are there. There are questions I cannot explain right now. These are all possibilities. So if at all such a supernova is exploding, supernovas explode, then only they become the white dwarf or a black hole and etc. And if a supernova is exploding, it's an energy conversion equation is there. I'm not going to that right now. It may attract planets or it may even throw away materials. Both are possible. So such an explosion may be dangerous to Earth. Either it can be attracted or something can come and hit us. Then another one is a gamma ray burst. Gamma ray burst will happen when gamma ray accumulation is there in the atmosphere. Gamma ray accumulation can come because of many cosmic actions. The black hole can cause it. The supernova explosion can cause it. And that is all remote possibility. Anyway, I'm not focusing much on it because I don't expect those things to happen in our lifetime, but cannot rule out also. So, as I told, the first massive extinction was 439 million years ago. We still don't know what was the cause. Maybe an asteroid strike or an earthquake. At that age, even huge earthquake would have been happened due to volcanic eruption. Huge volcanic eruption can cause the entire destruction. We may ask how a volcanic eruption can cause the entire species to vanish. Because when a huge volcanic eruption comes, in Malaysia, there are certain craters which have been huge volcanic eruption sites. When a huge volcanic eruption happens, abundant quantities of dust and smoke will come to the atmosphere, and the entire Earth atmosphere will be covered with dust and smoke, and even the sunlight will be banned for days and days. Then it will be followed by tsunami, and tsunami at that time, when a huge earth, even when an earthquake came in Sumatra, we felt that it was around 9 on the Richter scale. We found that meters high waves were coming. And it is estimated that when a huge earthquake can come near around 10 on the Richter scale, the height of the waves can go up to 15 kilometers. Just imagine, 15 kilometers, if a wave is going high, it can immerse all the land on this earth, quite possible. So that is a possibility. So whether it was that case or formation of an ice age where entire thing was covered with glaciers, these are all the possibilities for all these mass extinctions. But in the first extinction, as you know, I have told about how many species were extinct. 25% of it, if even the marine species were extinct, and 60% of the marine flora and fauna, these were extinct in the first extinction, which is called the Ordovician mass extinction. And then the next one, the late Devonian extinction. Almost 50% of the entire species on the earth was comparatively a huge extinction rate when we take the numbers of species extinct. And then when we come to the Permian Triassic extinction, the third one, this is the biggest of the 5 extinctions. I'll show how biggest it is. This happened around 245 million years ago. Biggest we say based on the quantum of extinction which has happened on the earth, how much it has extinct. And then obviously in that extinction, 96% of all marine species and 70% of all terrestrial vertebrates were killed. So in all the extinctions, the removal rate or the vanishing rate was very high, though I have shown it all one by one. Because of our time limit, I'm not going to explain each one of them because, you know, the discussion may go hours and hours if I go to each and every one of them. And I'm concerned about the latest one, which we call the KT extinction. It is a Cretaceous mass extinction. Cretaceous, of course, this happened 65 million years ago, and almost 75% of all the species were lost. As I have told, all the powerful species were lost because the powerful species will be immediately affected by floods or lack of oxygen content in the earth. There are some species, for example, the sea fishes. Even if the oxygen content is less, many of them can survive. But human beings or dinosaurs or developed animals cannot survive with less oxygen content. This can happen. And this is a Cretaceous tertiary extinction which happened 365 million years ago. Cretaceous we are using from a German name, Cretaceous. We use it as KT extinction. So if somebody is mentioning to you about KT extinction, it is that extinction which has happened 65 million years ago. If you can see this graph, you see 5 peaks for it. Each peak is shown by an arrow mark from top. 5 arrow marks you can see. And you see that the first one was the most powerful. But then the species on Earth were very limited. Very few species were there. So they didn't get extinct that much. But by the time this happened, the third one happened, the number of species were quite huge. And you see the gap at bottom. Those many millions of years it took to recover that. That is a point of inference in that. So many millions of years it took. So Alvarez, a scientist who got Nobel Prize, he only told that all the dinosaurs were lost in that extinction. In 1980, he came with a theory called Alvarez Theory, which says that the dinosaurs were extinct in that one. And it is convinced by the paleontological proofs also. Of course, Alvarez got a Nobel Prize not for that. And whenever an asteroid is striking, we are seeing on the Earth's crust a lot of iridium deposit. Iridium is normally not in heavy concentration on the Earth's crust. So this is an indication whenever in a paleontological layer, so much iridium deposit is there, it gives an indication that especially in the Mexican crater, there is a lot of iridium deposit, which proves that it has been an asteroid hit. And even Deccan traps were formed 65 million years ago. Deccan is, it's a mid portion of India. Deccan traps were an outcome of that that shivering which has happened 65 million years ago. The Earth's surface was having a shocking effect at that time. So, of course, this gives the major events happened so far. I'm not going to one by one. And now, these are points to ponder. Every 15 minutes, one species we are losing. Every day we are losing 100 species. Every year we are losing 4,000 species. We are not knowing it because millions of species are there. That is the point. And another thing is 50% of all the species are endangered or extinct on this planet. There is a red data book which shows the visible endangered species. It doesn't have invisible species. And obviously, when the global warming takes place, those species which cannot withstand the temperature will vanish one by one. And by 2050, we expect that 50% of all species, 25% of mammalian species, and 15% of the bird species will be extinct by global warming. And why the global warming? I'll come to that. The global warming, this is the fate. By 2100 AD, we are going to have around 4 to 5 degree higher temperature than what we are having right now. And that is why it is being told that even by 2050, 50% of the species will be extinct. Maybe some new heat-resistant species may come up. We cannot negate it. It can come. And another thing is, so many internal conflicts will happen when the temperature rises. I've been observing always that the clashes in the colleges are mostly in April and March. Why? When the temperature are high, the behavioral pattern of the students to change. This is my personal observation. For the last 42 years, I am observing that the student clashes in the colleges are mostly in summer days, especially in March, April. You can also observe. So when the Earth's temperature goes on, these blue spots are the possible spots for clashes, human clashes, maybe wars or riots. Okay. And if at all the temperature is going high, or if at all a nuclear blast will happen, who will survive? Very small insects may survive. Rodents may survive. Rodents means those who are living underneath the earth, like the rats or some snakes, they may survive. Even temperature, they may be able to survive by going inside the earth, deeper and deeper inside the earth. So there is a possibility that some species may survive, but human beings may not. And this is now the position of the world because, there is what is called tectonic movement. The plates on the surface of the earth move away. There was a time when there were only 2 plates, Pandalasa and Pangaea. They have moved away and gave birth to 5 continents right now. Now the theory says that they will again come closer by the tectonic movement. Plates underneath the earth are moving. They'll come closer and closer. And within 50 million years later, MA stands for million annum. 50 million years later, the world will look like this. 150 million after, the world will look like this. 250 million years after, the world will look like this. And this is the funniest thing which I wanted to show. The present changes do happen. Ultimately, the human generation, the human species will look like this. Because of the pollution, because of the temperature rise, because of the utility and dependence on electronic devices. This is an imagination by some scientists. This will be the shape of the human being in long future. Not your grandchildren, your great grandchildren maybe, something like this. I don't know whether you can believe it, but it is going to happen because over the generations, we have changed our shape so much. So in the future also, it can happen. So I'm closing my discussion. I know that some of the slides I didn't discuss much in deep because there was a time constraint. Now, I'm coming back to you. Though we have crossed the time, 5 minutes, I would like to spare with you for some discussion if anybody wants. Please come back to discussion. It is almost 8:07. 1 hour I've been exactly talking, but any discussion you want, I think I didn't present much things for a discussion. It's all based on facts and figures which are available all over the world. And if you refer materials on the net, you will come across piecewise on many of these things.
Thank you, sir.
1 or 2 questions we can have, not much. Right.
Shuddhodhan sir, I think he wants to ask a question.
Yes, definitely.
I'm really mesmerized or spellbound by the presentation of biologist or anthropologist or sociologist about the sustainability of human beings on Earth. But I'm enjoying expert turning the spotlight towards the extinction or vanishing the rate of life on Earth, really making burn the piece of gold. Something to smile on my face disappeared by your heart. I want to know about the genetic mutations happening in these biotechnology labs and all that. Whether we are moving towards the manipulation of species or genetic mutilations or genetic aberrations. Even Nobel Prize winners for the last 4 years were given on these gene cutters and all that. That is meant for cancer treatment and all that. But do we have the right to manipulate the genetic makeup of living beings and all that? Please tell me something about that also.
Truly speaking, I couldn't hear you properly, sir. 1 or 2 points, if you mention, your sound was breaking. I couldn't hear properly. You can keep the mic closer and ask me question as such.
Okay, that's great happenings you mentioned in your talk. But what about the man-made disasters like genetic mutilations or research on genetic makeup of animals, manipulations, etc.? Because in last 4 years, the Nobel Prizes were given to chemists, then medical people, then biological people, etc. were based on genome makeup manipulations and all that. And that will, I think, that will help for the sustainability of human beings on Earth, even if there is a biological war or even if there is atomic bombardment or anything like that. Please throw some light upon this.
Okay. Now I heard what you told. I heard. To be very frank, no life form can withstand atomic explosion. No genetical modification can withstand atomic explosion. If at all atomic explosion is coming, all the life forms will be extinct. You know that when the bomb was dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki on in August 1947, the temperature rose to around 10,000 degrees centigrade. Because it was a fusion reaction. Even fission reaction, that was a fusion bomb. Even fission bomb or fusion bomb, whatever it is, hydrogen bomb is a fusion bomb. Temperature will be so high, within seconds everything will burn. That means if American army and president decides collectively, they can burn the entire earth within seconds. Nobody will be left out, no life form will be left out. So nuclear holocaust, that is a reality. But then another thing is there, like what happened in Chernobyl, instead of burning and blasting, some radiations do leak out. Radiations leaking out means if it is within the tolerance limit of the human beings can survive. But huge quantum of radiations will normally go beyond the tolerance limit, which we measure by means of the Geiger-Müller counter. So mutations will take place. For example, when Chernobyl explosion happened inside, only limited radiation do even mutation on the cows in Europe. At that time, I was staying in Bombay. We were alerted that the butter which is coming from UK should not be used because the UK cows have been affected by this radiation which happened around 1,000 kilometers away. It is possible because nuclear radiation is something which can travel far away on the same side of the earth. It will not deflect and go to the other side. Say, for example, if explosion is happening on this half of the earth, this half of the earth will be directly affected by it. It may not go penetrating to the other sides, but this side will be extinct. So if two sides are having some holocaust, that is end of it. And genetical mutation by radioactive waves is a thing of concern because cancer is an unwanted growth of the cell. Unwanted growth of the cell is called cancer, cancerous growth. Cancer is caused by 3-4 main reasons. One is genetical reasons. One is, even now studies are going on that. One is mutation reasons. And one is, infection, especially certain virus can cause cancer. There may be much more reasons. Of course, my son is a specialist in oncologist. I used to talk to him on these matters. Even they don't know, even oncologists don't know all the reasons by which cancer is coming. But these 3 reasons they know. For example, radiation, virus infection, and certain chemicals. For example, chemicals like tobacco, they also can cause cancer in the cell. So one thing is assured, any nuclear radiation can cause cancer. Cancer can mutate the cells, and obviously the life will be reduced much. If you are getting a nuclear radiation, it doesn't mean that you will die all of a sudden. You will die gradually only. In Nagasaki and Hiroshima, most of the people died because of the temperature, not by radiation. But those who got the radiation have been suffering right from then up to their death. That is happening. So if a nuclear war comes, normally they are not going to release radiation. They are going to release the explosives, nuclear explosives. So Holocaust will take place. And that is one thing. Second thing is the biological war. Biological war, even now, world is capable of doing it. To be very frank, India is also capable of doing a biological war. China is very capable. Russia is capable. US is capable. Most of the biological wars are based on virus, spreading the virus. Even that novel, which I told, Inferno by Dan Brown, the culprit is only a virus, because scientists all over the world know that the virus, even Dr. Sudharan knows it very well because he is from the veterinary side. He knows very well about the virus. Virus has got such a thing that its outer shell is so strong. It is resistant to most of the medications. It is resistant to most of the poisons. So virus is something which can grow fighting the odds. So most of the biological weapons are virus, one thing. Second thing is the multiplication rate, the multiplicity rate of the virus is huge, very huge. There are certain viruses which can multiply to millions and millions within hours. So if such a virus is, spread in a country like India, within hours it can spread everywhere. And instead of a natural bomb, it can be a biological bomb. It can spread anywhere in the country. So world is at such a tragic position. Many of the countries, I heard that even Pakistan is having biological bomb. I don't know what will happen if some mad people are in control of it. Biological bombs they will not vanish the life all of a sudden. They will trouble the human beings and the animals. The entire flora and fauna will be affected, and it can even affect the plants, because many of these viruses which work on the animals will partially work on the plants also. So it is a very dangerous and any scrupulous action from somebody's side. But nowadays people are thinking of genomic selective warfare. Means, as I have told, they'll select only certain genes, say the genes of the cows, or the genes of the goat, or the genes of the negritoid human species, or the genes of the mongoloid. Every species has its own selective genes. So it can work alone on that. That is also possible. And that study is also going on. So there is a danger. For example, if a country full of mongoloids is using a genomic weapon which can kill only the asteroids, their country will be safe. The other country will be vanished. This can happen. So it's a danger which we cannot negate. And obviously, most of the genomic research which is going on in the world are going on in military laboratories. It's not available to common beings or common scientists. It is even in India, it is going on like that. But comparatively, such studies are less in India because we claim ourselves to be ethically better than many other countries. But it's even in small countries, genomic research is going on. I hope I answered your question as much possible.
Okay, sir. Thank you. But the peace of mind is gone and I cannot sleep also.
Yes. The more you learn, the more you will be troubled.
Yeah, that is it. Velicham dukhamanunni, tamassello sugapadam.
Yeah, correct. But knowing all these things is courage. Like there's a saying in Mahabharata where Yudhishthira says, the most wonderful thing on the earth is that everybody knows they are going to die and they live forgetting it. So let us forget it and live peacefully. That is a wonder on this earth.
Yeah, my mother used to tell, don't fear too much. You will not find a place to hide. So you have to set a limit to what extent you should be afraid, or you should allow others to frighten you. Okay.
Anyway, we all know that once born, we have to die. Why do we worry?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I think I answered the questions which came. I'm very much thankful to you. And a recording of this will be circulated in the groups so that others who couldn't attend this, I haven't heard such a talk in my life so far. So I felt that I should give such a talk because most of the people who are insiders in this, they don't talk out. They don't speak out. They are rather speak out. But since I am not an insider in these things, I can speak out all these realities. That's why I gave it. Thank you. Thank you very much for the patient listening. Thank you.
Okay, now
Thank you, sir. That was indeed a comprehensive knowledge on the topic. Now, I invite Professor Sankita P.S., Joint Secretary, Indian Society of Technical Education, for delivering the vote of thanks.
Hello, ma'am. Is it audible?
yes, ma'am, you are.
Good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, Palakkad, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this TED Talk series on when will life on Earth end. I thank our principal and resource person, Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevin Pillai. We sincerely appreciate you for taking out time from your busy schedule to provide us with such a valuable information. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank Mr. Akshay Kannan, CEO, IEDC Asset, for being a part of this program. Thank you, Akshay. Next, I would like to thank Dr. G. Muruganand, Secretary, ISTE, Ahalia Chapter Coordinator, Asset IQAC, for being a part of this program. Thank you, sir. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who are present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us to make this program a grand success. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to end up this talk with a quote. If you do not permit the earth to produce beauty and joy, it will in end not produce food either. So, wishing you all the best for the days ahead. Here, Gopika S. Nair signing off. Thank you.
Thank you, Gopika. Thank you very much. And I have actually posted the feedback form in the chat box. Participants can fill that and you will be receiving your certificates. So I've posted again for the benefit of people who are not able to open that. Jacob sir, can you try opening it now?
So good night to all of you. The link will be there for you to fill in, it seems. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Now it's okay, ma'am.
Thank you and good night. Bye-bye.